all the images that relate to street parties from the East End are always group portraits. And they have a very particular structure. They were always made in the middle of the celebrations. A vernacular, sort of like a local photographer would come along and take these group portraits. In a sense, the group portraits become an event within the event. The two pieces that are here in the gallery, Celebration Cypress Street and Walk Square, are two of a number of works that I've made over the last couple of years and I'm currently involved in making, that look at the kind of relationship and dynamic between individuals and collective experiences, and the kind of nature and structure, but also strength of group portraiture in representing moments of collective experience. I workshop a lot with people, both in this piece and in the new piece, Walk Square, and work with real people in achieving these kind of moments of making a film, and the film itself then becomes part of this idea of a collective experience. Walk Square was made literally a week ago in Hamburg, and was made with 1,000 kids, children from all over Hamburg, that come together for the purpose of this piece. Now the piece is really based on both kind of artistic references and absolutely current socio-political references. In particular, the kind of wave of protest demonstrations, marches that have occurred both in the UK and pretty much around the globe over the last year. And that protest culture is very much, or largely based within a youth culture, and it sort of has been spreading through young people mobilizing. Now I'm really interested in that for a number of reasons. I'm interested in the how marching, walking, traversing the city becomes a form of speech, in a form of expression and a form of democratic expression, and how the very act of walking, of being on the streets together, and being drawn towards a shared goal, a destination, really becomes language, and becomes a very powerful language. Now in the case of the piece here, it was also inspired by a number of references that come out of art history. There's a very famous painting called The Fourth Estate, and part of the lighting in the piece here was inspired by that painting. There is a central light source on the square. It's a big balloon light that is illuminated from its core, from its center. And as the children walk onto the square, and the closer they come to this light and encircle it, they become illuminated by it. Now, in this piece of work, there isn't a moment of protest or a sort of a political or social reason why these 1,000 school children leave their schools and march upon a central square. It's really art that pulls them into the center and that brings them together for this brief moment. And what was extraordinary to see really is that these 1,000 children, they don't know each other beforehand. They know maybe they're kind of their mates in their class, but they're really all strangers to each other. And this sort of sense of them coming together in this brief moment on the square and being able to perform a very simple form of walking choreography that they had learned individually, but they'd never ever before rehearsed. They'd never even been together in one place before. Became quite powerful. So this kind of moment of coming together, in this case being drawn together and also being, if you want to, choreographed through a moment of performance and a moment of art, is really what's at the center of that piece.
Melanie's exhibition allows Fabrica to continue its links with lens-based media. It also allows Fabrica to continue its involvement with photo works, the Photo Fringe and Brighton Photo Biennial. The films allow us to discuss broader philosophical points, and so the events are arranged around those broader points, and how crowds can be controlled, how they're used, the fun of being in a crowd, the fear that's created by being in a crowd, what democracy means and what the word democracy means and how it's used, what it's like to be living in a community, because Fabrica is in the middle of a community. We've got a talk on the 10th of November, 7 o'clock, it's free, where different experts on crowds will be discussing how they work and the power of the crowd. Melanie's films and Rachel Henson's residency allow us to discuss walking, whether it's walking and talking, walking and thinking, and in Rachel's case, walking and photography.
So for the last 3 years I've been developing walks that you go on by yourself, navigated by a set of flick books. The process is basically being in that site, finding a route through that has a really nice dramatic arc, and then taking photographs every 2 or 3 steps along the route and playing with how you get from one point to another and what you notice as you're walking that route. The walk I'm making now will start at the top of Regency Square and end at the edge of the sea, and will be shown at White Night, which is the 29th of October. I'm going to be doing flickbook making workshops in Fabrica, also an artist talk, and I'll be hanging out on a couple of Sundays so people can just come and chat.